What's good, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. I, of course, am the coach, and the crew is ready. This is the day. Sundays are the day where we shine, but we also shine on Saturdays. Yesterday, another solid day at the brand. Take a look at this. Now, we had one person, Chip, on the under in Army-Navy, M squared on the over. And if you watched it, 2 overtimes to get to 37 points and cash the over. Oh, if you were on the under, that's just gutting. But that's sports betting. It's what we talk about all the time. So we've got to move on. Good day regardless. So today is a busy day at the brand. Remember last week we were like 12-1 out of the chute? Yeah, we dominate Sundays. And today, in addition to our morning show, we've got a full hour at noon Eastern time with the crew. We'll break down every 1 o'clock game, every 4 o'clock game. And then, of course, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, the Patriots and the Cardinals, Sunday night football. We will have all the best bets, the props, the gem, the donkey, the goose. We've got it all tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. But you know on Sundays, I bring out my heavy hitters. I bring out the stars of the show. First and foremost, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. M squared. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Coach Larry, RJ. Happy Sunday brunch to everyone. Fired up for this NFL slate. There are a lot of very intriguing games today. Can't wait for these.
Intriguing is a very, very good word because there's games that mean a lot, and we'll tell you why. Next, speaking of the NFL, he is the man who runs it for us at SportsLine. He is the stoic one, R.J. White. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Kind of sad we don't have any World Cup to watch today after the show is over. I started getting addicted to it, at the 10 a.m. slot. So, but now I guess that just means everybody can focus on us today.
No doubt. I mean, I tell you, I've been blown away at how much the entire crew here at the Early Edge of Sports has been into the World Cup. And yesterday was amazing. Absolutely amazing. Finally, you see the little smile on his face. It's because it's Sunday. This is what he lives for. He is the Maestro, Larry Hartstein. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, guys. Sometime today there's going to be something that goes against you, a bad bounce, a tipped interception, and you're going to be upset because your bet is losing. And I just want you to think back to Thursday night and the 11 people in the Circa Million who were playing for over $6 million. There was only 70 people left. 11 people had the Raiders. And when Jerry Tillery knocks the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands, when Cleveland Farrell jumps off sides on a punt, when Josh McDaniels goes into a shell, on and on and on, and their chance at over $6 million lost to Josh McDaniels. And you know what's really interesting? There's 59 left. 15 of those have the Seahawks today, which I think they could go down, and 12 more have Tennessee, and I think they could go down. And because, a lot of people don't have all the powerhouses left at this point, but there were 15 people that could have used the Raiders. 11 did.
Wow. Well, rule number one is you don't use an away team until you have to. You might have to at this point. Seattle's playing Carolina today, and the Tennessee Titans are hosting Jacksonville. So something to think about if you're in your own survivor pools out there as well. All right, let's get into it. You heard Mikey. It's Sunday brunch. He named the show. This is what we do. We get you ready for the entire day. Then you can go to church, or you can go have lunch. You can go have brunch, whatever you want. Storylines that could affect the betting lines today. I got to tell you, this sentence has not been said in a while, Maestro, in Detroit City. Music City. Motown. It's not Music City. Nashville is. See, I got my cities all mixed up because I don't even know what to think at this point about the Detroit Lions. Talk to me.
Fascinating game today where 10-2 visits 5-7. The Lions favored. Everybody knows that. But how about a standing room only crowd? This is the biggest December game that they have had in 5 years. And if you watched on Thanksgiving, they had a good crowd against the Bills. They caused the Bills some problems. It's going to be louder today. That's an advantage for the Lions. You've also got Jameson Williams. He only played 8 snaps, and only 2 of those were passing downs. He could be the fastest guy in the league. He should be used more often. I saw another stat where the Lions are 8-0-1 against the number when they have St. Brown and DeAndre Swift both in the lineup. And finally, some bad news for the Vikings that just came out. Surprisingly, the left tackle, Darisaw, will be out, even though he cleared concussion protocol. He will not play today.
5-7, the Detroit Lions on very much alive in the playoff race. Remember, there's 17 games now, and 7 teams make the playoffs too. So the Lions have been really the only 2 losses they've had in the last several weeks. Dolphins close, Bills close. They're playing really, really good football. Todd Live for Sunday says gut feel Detroit wins. So maybe the money line is a play you may want to get into today. Now, RJ, let me come to you, because if you would have told Tom Brady 5 years ago that you're still going to be playing, he probably would have agreed with you. But if you would have told him you would be an underdog to some dude named Brock Purdy, what do you think he would have said?
He would have said, isn't that the guy that's going to be Mr. Irrelevant in a few years and go in the 7th round? There's no possible way. On one side, you got the greatest of all time quarterback, on the other, a 7th round rookie. And, you look at the comments midweek, San Francisco players talking up Purdy, he doesn't seem like a rookie, that kind of thing. That always happens with a backup quarterback, the teammates talk him up. But he does have 46 career starts in college, way more experience than a typical rookie that comes in, maybe had, like Brady didn't play a ton in college. So it was, when he took over, he didn't have a lot of experience. Purdy has some experience though. But the reason for this line obviously isn't the Brady versus Purdy angle. It's San Francisco's defense being the best in the NFL. Brady has played one game in San Francisco, threw 4 touchdowns with 0 interceptions. I'm sure he would love to have a rehash of that and a part 2 like that. But San Francisco is pretty healthy injury-wise. The one to watch was Nick Bosa. He is expected to play, while Tampa Bay is beat up on the offensive line and in the secondary. So it could be a long day for Tom Brady, and Brock Purdy might not have to do much to get this win.
Why do you think the locker room is so excited? Because after the game last week, you didn't hear anybody say, man, we're going to miss Jimmy G. They all love Brock. Why do you think that is?
I think it's just good, a testament to good coaching and having a good locker room in place, that they're excited for the next guy. They're positive. They're thinking we still can compete in this and win the Super Bowl. So they don't want to badmouth the guy that's coming in and make it seem like, oh, woe is us, now we're out of the playoffs, because they're very much in it in that division. They should get a high seed.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. 8-4 San Francisco, 6-6 Tampa, a first place matchup later today. We'll break down that game and all the other games today at noon Eastern time right here on Early Edge Live. All right, let's get into it, because we have a full board, a full slate. But before we do that, we got to pay those pesky little bills. Let's hear from one of our incredible partners. And we are back. Those watching on YouTube, this is the Early Edge. Those listening on Apple or Spotify, we welcome you as well. So he named the show, and sometimes after a brutal split draw last night, after the next Conor McGregor lost, but they gave him the win, sometimes you need to pick yourself up. So M Squared, if you don't mind, you know the drill, son. It doesn't matter if it's the World Cup, soccer, football, baseball, the man is ready. And when you throw off his live odds on anything, he comes back the next day bigger than ever. So if you don't mind, give it to me.
All right, Coach, let's hit a 3-team money line parlay to get the fun started today. We're going Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, Cincinnati Bengals. We're going all AFC teams, the dominant teams in the AFC, starting with Cincinnati against Cleveland. They get to face Deshaun Watson. They've been embarrassed by this team. Really, even with Joe Burrow, the last 4 starts there, I think it's a huge bounce back opportunity for Cincinnati. They're getting healthy at the right time. Having Jamar Chase back is such a big deal for this offense. Then for the Bills, love them at home against the Jets. Mike White has been a great story. You remember last year, he was a great story at times too, until he ran into this Buffalo defense. Really difficult task, in my opinion, for him today against Buffalo. Love them here on the money line. And then the Chiefs, of course, on the road in Denver. I do think that it's interesting that this line is now moved to 8.5. It is not moving closer to 10. I agree with it. I accept it a little bit in terms of how good Denver actually is defensively. I think Kansas City ultimately escapes with the win. You put these all together, plus 111. Yes, it's a little chalky. It is one that I love. We will have a very significant amount of money on this one today.
Little translation for you there. He really, really likes this play.
Yes.
Just a little nugget there. He really likes this play. And this is the time of year, guys, that when you get to December and sometimes you got weather, sometimes it's cold, teams are just worried about getting in and getting out. I stay away from totals altogether. And then you look at the 3 numbers that Mikey's avoiding, 5.5, 10, 8.5. Those don't matter. All we need to do is win the game. I love this parlay to kick off the show. Now, I encourage you all to stay till the very end of the show. If you watch every week, you know why. But RJ, right here, right now, what do you like today?
Yeah, I put up Jaguars plus 3.5 on the site a little over an hour ago. It's down to 3 in most spots, but I think you can still find a few 3.5s. Tennessee's injury report is brutal, especially on defense. Danico Autry, Christian Fulton, Long is out. Simmons is questionable. We'll see if he'll play. Then on the other side, Burks is out on the Tennessee offense. He's the only difference maker they have at receiver. Trevor Lawrence expected to play. I think he carves up this beat-up defense. In Jacksonville, defensively, their worry is stopping Derrick Henry. They haven't done it in the past ever, but he's in a slump with his offensive line playing poorly. His last 4 games, 75 carries, 208 rushing yards. That's a 2.77 yards per carry average. Only 1 rushing touchdown. Just not great stuff from him in typically his dominant fashion. So Jacksonville had been trending up in the market before getting blown out by Detroit. I think if you revert to that and kind of wipe that game from your mind a little bit, thinking Detroit's better than we thought, this is an easier matchup here in the trenches, oddly, with Tennessee's injuries. And the Jaguars is a fair to be at 3. And even then, I would lean them. But 3.5 is a great number. I also have Tyler Huntley over 40.5 rushing yards. I know Mikey's going to love that after listening to the DFS podcast this week. Lamar's hit that number in 8 of his last 10 before injuries. Passing game weapons here aren't great, so Huntley should have to run the ball a bit. He had 40-plus in all 5 games last year where he saw extensive action, had 41 rush yards last year against a very good Denver defense on 10 carries. While battling flu-like symptoms, it came out that he was dealing with illness before that game. Still was able to get barely over this number. Third one, Chris Moore, over 31.5 rushing yards. Who is Chris Moore? He's the number 1 receiver for the Texans today with Brandon Cooks and Nico Collins out. Typically plays 50 to 60% of the snaps. He had 73% of the snaps against the Eagles with those top 2 receivers out a few weeks back. Caught 4 or 5 targets, 43 yards. Similarly tough matchup there as he has here. So I think he could have that 43 yards as a Brown, what we should expect, but he obviously could go higher than that. His prop is 1 yard less than Philip Dorsett at Caesars, who has 32.5. He's way more reliable than Dorsett. 67% catch rate versus Dorsett's 44% catch rate. I am more confident that he's going to be a bigger part of the offense than Dorsett. Love going over on his receiving yards prop.
The Texans, when they have Davis Mills, they can move the football. They don't necessarily score all the time, but they can move the football in between the 20s. I love this play. Sneaky play from RJ White. And as I just said, I encourage you to stay till the end of the show. All right. Now, great parlay from Mikey. Great 3 plays from RJ. But this man has been simmering. He's been simmering all week. It's time for the Maestro spot. So, Larry Hartstein, what do you have? Floor is yours.
I got a bunch of plays, guys. I'm going to start with the Carolina Panthers +4 at Seattle. They're coming off a bye. Deontay Foreman is healthy. This Seahawks rush defense is falling apart. Over 200 yards a game allowed since week 10. The Panthers defense is playing well. J.C. Horn is healthy. He can play on DK Metcalf. And Sam Darnold, they can have him throw it 20 times instead of 35 times with that running game. That's the game plan. He didn't turn it over in his first start. This team is 5-2 against the number with the interim coach. I definitely think we have a tight game here. I do not see a blowout. Love the Panthers +4. The second game is, I love the Bengals. I know the Browns have had their number, but Deshaun Watson was the worst quarterback in the league last week. It wasn't really close. And now we're expecting him to suddenly make a jump after all that time off. There was no indication that he's about to make that jump. And now you're playing at Cincinnati. Interesting trend. The Bengals in same season rematches are on a 17-2 run against the number. That happened already this year when they lost to the Steelers. And then they took care and covered against the Steelers. Joe Burrow has been incredible lately. At home, he has 11 touchdowns and no turnovers in his last 4 home games. The run defense has gotten better for the Bengals since DJ Reader came back. I love this Bengals team. I know they're at the top of the market, but I think they're going to put it on the Browns today. And then 3 props, starting with Tom Brady, over 36.5 attempts. You have to pay some juice. I paid -140 on this. They can't run the ball at all, and they won't be able to against the Niners. And he's gone over this in 9 of his last 10 games, including 5 times where he's had 49 or more. So over 36.5 looks great to me. And then another prop, Tony Pollard, over 67.5 rushing yards against the awful Texans defense. This could be a problem if the game gets way out of hand early, but I think Pollard will be responsible for it getting out of hand. 5.8 yards per carry. Among running backs who are still active, take away Breece Hall and Khalil Herbert, that is the best yards per carry, 5.8 against a terrible Texans run defense. And then my favorite prop, James Cook over 11.5 receiving yards for the Bills. This guy emerged last week against the Patriots, 6 targets, 6 catches, 41 yards. He is so much more explosive as a receiver than Singletary is, and I think they're starting to recognize that. Josh Allen struggled against the Bills and against the Jets in the first meeting. Well, the way to get him comfortable and to avoid those mistakes is to dump it off to James Cook. This rookie is finally showing why they drafted him so high. He is super explosive catching the ball. He could do this in one catch today.
And you know I love synergy here on the early edge. And if you all watch the prop spectacular that we do every single Friday, we are fading Devin Singletary, his combo prop, 58.5 rush yards and receiving yards. We're going under because of James Cook. It all comes together. It really, really does. Maestro, 5 incredible plays there for today in the NFL. So grab your paper, grab your pencil. Here is the recap courtesy of Jake the Snake on the 1s and the 2s. Let's start with the Maestro Panthers +4. They're on the road, late game. That game is in Seattle at 4:05. Let me make sure 4:05. Yes. No, 4:25 Eastern this afternoon. Them Bengals -5.5 taking on the Browns. And Tom Brady over 36.5 pass attempts. The only thing that will keep this from cashing is they just don't have the ball enough. That's it. But they will. Tony Pollard over 67.5 rush yards for the Cowboys against the Texans. Then James Cook. Many of you may not know him, but he is the Bills, and he is going to take over as the number 1 running back moving forward. Then M squared. 3-way parlay. All we need is for these 3 teams to win. Bengals, Bills, Chiefs, +111. Then R.J. White, Jags, +3.5. Tyler Huntley, over 40.5 rush yards, -123. In for Lamar Jackson today. And then Chris Moore, over 31.5 receiving yards for the Texans against the Cowboys. And AB throwing his hat into the ring. By the way, the man is feeling good today. 6-0-1 yesterday to get ready for today. And there's a bunch of Chick-fil-A nuggets at his social media page on Twitter. I encourage you to go there. It will help you prepare for the games today. But these 6 plays, Cowboys second half team total, Dolphins first half team total, Dolphins second half team total. That, of course, is late against the Chargers tonight. Then Jalen Hurts over 50.5 rush yards, Deontay Foreman over 63.5 rush yards, and Tony Pollard, his longest rush as part of Maestro's play. Let's just have a 17-yard run. And then everybody is happy. Now, I tell you on the Sunday morning show, you got to stay until the end. Don't just look at the recap screen. You miss so much. You also miss the look ahead. RJ.
Yeah, the look ahead, I'm looking at it, Cincinnati -2.5 at Tampa Bay. First on that Cincinnati game, looks like it's crashing down in the market right now. The 4s are available. It looks like it might trend at 3.5. So I actually agree with Larry and Mike's play on the parlay and laying the points with Cincinnati. But I would encourage you to wait, because if it's going to keep crashing, you're going to get a very good number closer to kickoff. But I expect them to finally get over the Cleveland hump as well, with the team peaking right now. Tampa Bay, dogs to Purdy, haven't won decisively since week 2, despite having a pretty easy schedule. So I don't know that they're going to come out and light the doors on fire with against the San Francisco defense here. My current power ratings have this line at Cincy -4 at Tampa Bay, and I think it could be bigger if Tampa flops today. So I would lock in Cincy -2.5 at Tampa Bay right now.
We do the look ahead every single week. It is not necessarily because we are going to bet it or we will eventually bet it. We just want to educate you so you know, and now books allow you to bet it. This play I absolutely love. Bengals are soaring. Tampa Bay not so much. Get it in early. All right. Grab your paper. I'm fired up for today. I think today's going to be a really, really good day. Grab your paper. We already did that. See, I don't even remember the look ahead. That shows how much I have in my brain right now on a busy Sunday. So give me my ISO, and I can't screw up anymore. There's only one thing left to do, and I believe you all know what that is. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these Sunday brunch tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. M squared, Maestro, the stoic one, RJ White, the snake on the 1s and the 2s, AB, always working. Just follow him on Twitter. The man runs the brand and has zero ego. That's what we're all about right here at the Early Edge. Good luck.